Good day, all. I just want to talk about how Bitcoin is damn near $100,000. Wow, is all I can say. Let's get into it. Um, I started investing in Bitcoin in 2017. Um, I listened to this podcast that was talking about Bitcoin at the time, and it piqued my interest, but I didn't invest heavily. I put some money in it in Bitcoin in 2017, and I haven't touched it since. But when I looked, I was like, okay, it's not much, but okay, it went up. All right, I see what's happening here. But with that being said, I really didn't know anything about investing until I started listening to certain podcasts, and it piqued my interest, and then that's when I started to do this challenge that everybody was doing, and it started working for me. But before then, I never even really thought about investing besides having a 403B at my job. And that I started when I was very young. I started because I've been at this job 20 years, so I started that 403B very early into my employment here. And at first, someone signed me up, and I knew that I wanted to start putting something away for retirement, but I really couldn't tell you what that consists of, like how to go about doing that. So um, they had some people, some representatives that came to the job, and that were signing people up for the 403B, and it was like, take a certain amount, a certain percentage out your check every pay period to contribute to the 403B. So I said, okay. At that time, I think the max was 6,000, and that would mean that I would have to put at least $250 a pay period into my retirement account before taxes, because 403B, well, now they have the Roth 403B, but the 403B was traditional, I guess, and that's the one that you just put money in. Your monies go in before taxes, which means that when you hit the age 59 and a half, when you can withdraw those funds, um, you're going to be taxed on that money after, because it wasn't taxed when it was going into the account. So I had to really do my research on all of that stuff, because I really didn't know anything about anything. Like, I come from I come from a place where my family members didn't really talk about investing. They didn't talk about buying houses, and I wasn't taught to invest money instead of just saving it. So some representatives came to the job. I knew I wanted to put something away for retirement. I didn't know what that was and how I was going to do that. But when this came about, I said, okay, I'm going to sacrifice the 250 every pay period for, for as long as I can. I still didn't know what I was doing. So this is why it's so important to read things and to understand what you're signing, like not to never sign anything without properly reading everything and comprehending it also, because you can read something and not comprehend, but and that's where the problem comes in at. So I probably read it, or maybe I skimmed over it, and at that time it was just like, okay, good, I got this 250 coming out, that's fine. Fast forward to years later, I want to say it was about maybe 6 or 7 years. It might have been even more than that, of me putting this 250 into the full 3B plan. And actually, I didn't actually know that if I looked into my full 3B, that I had many options to choose from as far as stock picks go. Okay. So the man that signed me up, I'm pretty sure he talked to me, but at that time, maybe I didn't comprehend what he was saying to me. He, I remember him talking to me about putting my, because I was, when you not used to putting your money places, you're scared to lose it. So I decided that I was going to be on a very low risk, and I know there was low, medium, and low, moderate, and high risk. I didn't want it to be on high risk because my thought was at that time was I can't afford to lose no money. So I had him put it. I told him that I wanted to be on a very low risk. So a very low risk must have meant putting me into a stock that was safe, and I didn't comprehend the language at the time. So after many years of putting the 250 in, I said, let me, finally I can go on, like listening to this podcast of this person who I think is very brilliant when it comes to getting, I'm going to say, black people to think. I started listening to that podcast and realized he's right. I need to go look in my portfolio and see what the hell is in there, because I don't know what. I need to go take a look at this 43B and see where my money's going. So I set up an account, opened up the 43B, and long and behold, he had me in, probably what he would call a low risk stock. It was only one. When I looked up there and realized there was so many other things that I could invest in. And all this time that went by, I was only putting my money into one, something that wasn't really paying me no dividends or nothing. What? There was a little chunk of money there because I had been putting the 250 in for a couple of years. But that little chunk of money could have been so much bigger if I knew what I was doing, and if I did my research and read up on it, and you know, just knew what I was doing. So I go up there, and the person's podcast that I was listening to kept saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And all my eggs at that time was in one basket. So I took it out of this stock that was doing absolutely nothing for me. And I didn't know how to put all my eggs in different baskets either. So I just started spreading the stocks around. I started taking money from that stock and putting it into different stocks. And then I let that ride for a couple of years. I look back and I seen growth. Believe it or not, like I still didn't grasp the concept that I shouldn't be in a whole bunch of different ones, being that I only have this small percentage of money coming out of my check. I shouldn't maybe spread that out so thinly between the whole heap of stocks that I put the money into. Okay, so fast forward a few years go by after I've been listening to that podcast for a while, put the money in, it started to go up. Then I realized, after having outside accounts, like I started to get a little bit more smarter with investing, and I opened a Robinhood account and also opened a Stash account at the time. As a matter of fact, I had a Stash, Robinhood, and an Acorns account on top of my full 3B. So I started investing in those three accounts, and I was doing this little challenge, and it was working for me. I was like, wait a minute, this guy is brilliant because his little challenge is working for me, and I'm starting to see growth on my money. Like I really can save my money. And then, at the time I was listening, it was like the talk was like, like we spend money on food every day, which is true. I don't eat fast food, but I can see where people do spend money on food every day. Then he said, we waste money on things every day that we don't need. Why not put the money where it can grow? And that's what I started doing. Stop eating out as much. And I started doing that little challenge regularly. Put the thing on auto pay. This way I don't even see it coming out my check every 2 weeks, and I didn't see it. And yes, so okay, he said diversify. I went back into the account after a few years of after being diversified, but I over diversified. I went back in. Now I had thousands chunks of money that I can, you know, put where I knew now it would grow. Now I kind of know what I'm doing. I don't know fully, like I don't know how to trade or anything like that. I would love to get into stock options, but it's gonna take me some time to get there to that point. But my thing is being like a long-term investor. I like that, and that resonates with me. So I went in and I took all my eggs out of all these different baskets, and I narrowed it down to like 3 good picks and one of them was the S&P 500. And I gotta tell y'all, oh my God, do I see growth? Do I see growth? And I'm very happy about it. But the point of all this is to say that if we don't read and we don't do research before we sign our name on a dotted line or do anything in that aspect, it can be very detrimental. And because you're doing things, but you haven't did the research, so you can possibly lose money, which I feel like me putting that money into that safe stock all those years, I lost money. I did, because I didn't know what I was doing. But now that I do, and I'm seeing the growth, I like it. But what happened was, like putting the money into that stock that wasn't doing anything for me, like that one stock, that one safe stock, allowed me to gain capital. So I built, because remember years had went by, I built a little bit of capital and was able to put a big chunk into what I really want to put it into now. So, and I just wanted to say that we really do have to do our due diligence and read and comprehend what we're reading. The other thing is, around the same time that I signed up for the full 3B, I also signed up for life insurance. That was another thing that was talked about on this podcast at the time. And I have life insurance for me and my family and my husband, but I, again, was young at the time when I signed up for life insurance and just signed everything up and didn't look back to check and make sure everything was legit. And at that same time that I went in to check on my full 3B, I said, let me go in and check on the life insurance now, because, I signed up for that around the same time and I didn't read anything. I didn't read nothing. I just knew I needed some life insurance. What I did, I signed up, and that was that. Signed up. Years later, I went back in, looked inside my life insurance account, hooked it up on the computer now, and decided to look at it. All this from just hearing a podcast. Looked at the life insurance policy and realized that they had information wrong for they didn't have my beneficiaries down. They didn't have my last name. They just had my first name. They had my social security, no, not my social security, my birth date wrong. They didn't have any of my beneficiaries down. They didn't have any contact for my family members, my husband, my kids. Didn't have any contact information down there. So if something would have happened to me during that time, my husband and kids probably couldn't even get to the money. Couldn't even get to the funds. They couldn't get to it. So I went in. I was steaming through my head was steaming. I could feel my pressure through the roof when I was looking at these things and saying, this is how people get tricked into giving their money away. And some people know that you don't know what you're doing. Some people actually, when they're signing you up for these things, They know you're not aware of what you're doing and that you're not going to read it properly and you're not going to comprehend it properly. And this is why they do what they do. And this is why they get away with stealing from you, and not only stealing from you, but tricking you into doing things that can't benefit you later on. You realize you can't get to your family funds. So I went in, I fixed everything, put my correct address, contacts, phone numbers, emails, children's names, husband name, like I went in and fixed everything. But those were two major things on the job that I realized I was signed up for, and I didn't actually understand what I was signing. I didn't even go home and read the information after I left. Uh, I didn't go home and read the information after I signed up for these things, and that's what a lot of young people. Well, not, I can't say today, because the young people of today, they are very bright. I gotta give y'all props. Y'all are so smart, and I take my hats off to y'all, because y'all are nothing like when my generation was coming up. People were hanging out, people were cutting school, people were dropping out of school. Y'all are graduating, y'all are getting degrees, y'all are starting businesses. Y'all, I mean, I'm so sad that it's hard for y'all to buy houses and stuff like that. Well, I can't even say y'all. I gotta say us with that, because I don't own yet either. But reading is fundamental, and comprehension is fundamental, and these are the skills that we have to teach our children. Our children have to learn that when you're doing anything in life, you should be reading, making sure that you understand what you just signed, and you should make sure that you understand what you just read. All too often, our young athletes get into, they get into something and they sign these contracts, and they signing their life away and don't even know. Like, they signed contracts and didn't understand what what the contract meant. And so that's why we have to get smart with well, a lot of us are bright with reading, but a lot of us just still take reading for granted. And I think we have to do better, um, better with making sure that we protect ourselves and protect our families with certain things. And that's it for now. That's what I wanted to say. And yeah, that was my story. So if any of this that I just said and spoke about resonated with you, um, please hit the like button. I'm not going to say smash the like button like I hear everybody saying, but hit the like button. I would appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. And if you would love to leave me a comment, I'll take it all. Anyway, love you all. Have a good day, and until the next video.